I have the privilege of working with the Center for Creative Leadership to do some of their leadership training, and they have one of the best feedback models that I have ever come across, and that is the SBI model, Situation, Behavior, Impact. It's super not sexy, but it's also really effective. And so what this is that when you are going to give somebody feedback, this is the beginning of the conversation, not the entire conversation. And the first part is the situation. Now, our brains are like a video camera. It's not a very good video camera, that's another class, but it is like a video camera. So what we're wanting to do is when we're giving somebody feedback, get them in the same time and place so that they can reach into their brain and pull that file. So Monday, when you were presenting for the new employees at orientation. Now the next piece, and this is where feedback goes sideways, is the behavior. It is not a judgment, it is not a story, it is an actual visual behavior. And so my question for you, we're gonna run this through a couple of times. If I tell you that somebody is friendly, is that a behavior or a judgment? It's a judgment. What behaviors would we see that would lead us to believe that somebody is friendly? Smiling. Tone of voice, nodding, eye contact. All of these different pieces lead us to believe that somebody is friendly. Now on the flip side, if we say that somebody is aggressive, is that a behavior or a judgment? Judgment. It's a very loaded judgment as well, by the way. And so when we think about it, it could come across as somebody has speaking loudly over other people or not letting other people speak. So we can see how that would be different. Now this is for positive and negative impact conversations. And so what I mean by this is many times we give praise instead of positive feedback. Praise looks something like, great job today, so glad that you were here and breathing. Well done, well done. Whereas positive feedback would look something like, the flu is currently going around and we had 5 call-ins today. If you wouldn't have been here, we wouldn't have been able to tie up this final piece for Big Client 101. Tying up this final piece will have a huge impact on the organization. The fact that you were here means the world. Thank you. Can we see the difference between the two? So one of the things I would like to challenge you on, less praise, more positive feedback. Because the way our brains treat feedback is we need 4 pieces of sincere, honest, positive feedback for every 1 piece of negative impact feedback that we give. And the same thing with negative impact. So if we think about it, has anybody ever been given feedback and they look at you and they're like, hey, so what you did, it came across as rude. How did you respond? If you're anything like the employee that I did that to, they looked at me and says, I'm not rude. You're being rude right now. What just happened? It goes left so fast. Whereas if I say, on Monday, when you were presenting to the new employees for new employee orientation, I saw that Janet asked a question. And before Janet could finish, you cut her off and you gave a very sharp response. The response being, no, we don't do that here. The impact, which is the next step in this, the impact of that was that Janet didn't ask any other questions and I didn't see anybody else ask any other questions either. I realize this is only my perspective, but my concern is that it came across as rude. I would love to hear what was going on in that moment. What's the difference between the first feedback and the second feedback?
Second.
One's constructive, one's specific, one's not. And when we tell somebody that they're doing a poor job, but we don't tell them what they're actually doing or what they could do to improve it, all we do is damage relationships. There's a lot more resources online about this as well, to be able to utilize SBI to give effective, timely, and valuable feedback that the individual receiving it can actually do something with. Because it always comes back to Galvanize is about educating, not disciplining. Disciplining is you were rude. Educating is, let's talk about how this came across as rude and what you can do differently in the future.